Thank you very much. In one of previous presentations, I've been also in a San Francisco user day. I had a big text there saying that the SAMM assessment is the easy part. And I think it's the same for DSOMM. Actually doing the DSOMM assessment is the easy part of this maturity program. The difficult part is the soft challenges. How do you convince the management? How you get the buy-in? And today's previous speakers also underline those challenges. So you need to visualize, show progress, celebrations to motivate the people, getting the buy-in from stakeholders. And that's where we're having difficulties. And that's why that's a recurring topic today. We are not discussing anything technical today, but we are sharing our tricks, what we're doing. So today I'm going to share with you importance of soft skills in AppSec programs, in building AppSec programs. And I will share with you a few tricks that will make your developers want to do some activities themselves without you doing anything. And yeah, my name is Nariman Aga-Tagiyev. I'm coming from Netherlands. I'm one of the SAMM core team members. And recently I started Secure Habits company, which helps development teams, purely like focusing on R&D development, maturing, assessing, measuring, and building lasting changes in the programs. So just a hard fact. So you don't need to have soft skill for this. Maybe as an engineer, as a cybersecurity architect, you see that there is a gap between the global SSDLC policy defined by the security team and the reality on the floor. I guess you all will agree with that. So that global one represents the perfect world scenario. Reality is always different. You see that. But then the soft challenge would be, how would you convince the management to use maturity model for that? Because obviously, using something structural like SAMM or DSOMM helps to bring that gap together, like from the reality and the target global SLC policy. Or let's say you actually did assessments and you do understand your current score or current targets. That also doesn't need lots of soft skills. Yeah, you just ask the questions. We have criteria, you have the concrete questions in SAMM model. You know that if you took into account all the different contexts, but how are you going to do the change in organization? How you will introduce a lasting change? This is the soft topic. That to be able to do this, it's not enough just to read out the technical questionnaire. You actually need to have some soft skills. And if we see a maturity as a line from left to right, and you know that you are here, your current state, you measured, you know where you want to be. That also something hard. You did risk assessment, you know what's based your priorities where you want to be. And to get there, you can define requirements, a roadmap. You can get external consultants that will help you exactly like what you need to do, what is expected. And you can even have priorities, like the roadmap, how to get there. All this information, like concrete information, you give it to an engineer, maybe a team lead of a team, a security champion, and say, hey, here's the requirements. I want you to get from A to B. Do you think that engineer will be able to do that? Because that's what I often see. I see consultants coming, doing assessment, saying, you need to be there. Here's a list of activities of improvements. And then leave. And OK, every team has to deal with this. They have a list of issues in their issue tracking system, like roadmap. OK, here's a checklist you need to do. And it's a difficult part. Because it's not just a straight line. It actually looks a bit like this. Right? You need to go back and forth and negotiating. So when I started to roll out the program in a previous employer, we had about 10,000 developers. I had to try to convince them 4 times. And I get no 4 times. And every time I would go back to SAMM core team, I would join monthly community calls. We will complain. Yeah, I tried to say this. They told me that. And they would give me different tricks. And I would go again and try again. And I managed to convince afterwards. But it takes lots of effort and learning here. And what I was learning in those community calls are the soft skill tricks, how to make it happen. So, but you can do it if you know some tricks. I will share with you a couple. There are many tricks, but I will just share a couple of things today.
Can you share all? Yeah.
Some tricks. So I was inspired by this guy, Dustin. He was last year in San Francisco with us, and he presented folks' behavior model. So basically, we want to get a behavior from your managers, from your developers, right? You want them to do something. And if you want to achieve behavior, look, my motivation is lower than it should be. Somebody didn't do design properly. No, it was me, actually.
I think that's on purpose, motivation.
Okay, motivation. So if you want to achieve behavior, you need to have motivation. So you need to somehow create a motivation at the person who wants to get that behavior, at the management or your team. You need to have ability to do it. So maybe they are very motivated to implement SAST, but you don't have a tool, anything, then they not be able to do it. So you need to have motivation to do that. You need to have ability. And if I know I can't do it, I'm motivated to do it, but nobody actually triggers it, like nobody says, let's do this, it's also unlikely. So you need to have a prompt, a trigger. Okay? So these three factors, if they all come together, you actually can get behavior more likely. I will focus a bit on motivation, which is also part of the presentation from Dustin. So he showed the Octalysis framework of behavior design. There are many factors that influence motivation of people, from having proper epic meaning. Maybe as a team, we believe that having secure product is good for us. Maybe you make them feel empowered to say, hey, you are so smart. Like, I really believe you can solve this problem. And then they actually motivate and go, yes, I am smart. I'm going to fix it. Yeah, that's empowerment. Feeling of accomplishment. Maybe they feel ownership. That's all the different motivations. Or maybe scarcity. You say, if you don't buy this today, it will be finished tomorrow. You have this discount if you apply it now. So that's also different motivators. So you can use those as well. And you can divide them to intrinsic and extrinsic. Intrinsic motivators, they are motivating by yourself. You don't need any rewards. People just understand the value, the influence, unpredictability. They want to do it themselves. And extrinsic depends on reward. So you need to maybe make a scarcity, maybe have a accomplishment to give something if they do it. And there's also other way to divide those motivators. You can say that some of them are sustainable, some not. If you are using scarcity or power, they say, if you don't do that, I'm going to fire you. Your objectives will not be met. That is that you will get results right away, but it's not sustainable. Or if you give every time a bonus, every time a bit of money, if a person does something right, when you stop, they will not be motivated anymore. So these are not sustainable. The bottom ones are not sustainable. But top ones, if you're using more feeling of accomplishment, shared epic meaning, those actually work in long term better. And just to sum up on this formula, so behavior is triggered when you have proper motivation, ability, and prompt in place. And I strongly recommend you to find Dustin's YouTube videos. He has specifically on this topic. This presentation will be attached to today's agenda, so you'll be able to go to agenda item and download the presentation, and there's a URL to this topic, because he covers in very detail every aspect of those motivator factors. They are very interesting and to use in your AppSec program. Couple of things also. If something is very easy to do, but there is no motivation to do that at all, and I'm keep prompting, so it will be just annoying and distracting. I'm not motivated, you keep asking me to do that, it's just annoying. But if I have lots of motivation but no ability, maybe I really want to fix all the problems in SCA, but I don't have time given, ability given to that, it will also feel frustrating. So having right balance of ability and motivation is also important. Only then actually triggers work. So you need to give both, motivate them, and you need to give them tools and support, and then you can remind them, ask them to do stuff, and they will act. That balance is important. Now, let's say you achieve a behavior 1 time, 2 times with these tricks. You have motivation, you triggered, you invite them to a meeting, and they did what you wanted. But I want to be able to go to some user day here, and I don't want to keep doing stuff, so I want it to be a habit. I want people to develop some habits, so I don't have to do rewards every time and makes them feel uncomfortable to trigger them certain action. So I believe that it's important to develop habits in organization. And for every activity I want to implement, every SAMM activity or DSOMM activity, I'm thinking, how can I make a habit out of it in the company that they just want to do themselves? And that's what I said. I'll give this trick. Charles Duhigg, so he's a psychology researcher. He defined this model of 4 steps. That's how he describes that the way habits are created. He said that usually you see a cue, so you observe a situation. Maybe you enter a dark room, you see it's dark, you observe something. And second step of creating habits, you feel uncomfortable. You have some craving. You want to see. You enter the dark room, you want to see around. And because you are afraid to step on something, you feel uncomfortable. So you get a craving, you find a solution, you respond, you click on the light, and suddenly it's bright, and you see everything, and you feel reward. You feel like good about it. So if you repeat this loop many times, every time second time I enter the room, I again feel uncomfortable, third time, but next time I enter the room, before I feel uncomfortable, I just hit the light switch, and it becomes a habit. Every time I enter the room, without thinking, I'll open the light. Even sometimes light is on, I enter, I will hit it there. Because now it becomes automatic. So it's about creating this loop many times for whatever activity you're doing, and it just will become automatic without making them experience craving or reward. Oh, I clicked something. I'll give you a concrete example. Let's say you hit a roadblock in your project, you feel stuck, that's a frustration, you don't know what to do next, and you want to feel better. You pull out your phone, you swipe Instagram while you're doing your project at home. And suddenly you forget the stress, you feel better, and that gives you like a dopamine to you. You feel nice. If you do it many times, your brain starts to associate that next time you hit a roadblock in your project, you know that, hey, I recognize the situation, and that's the moment when I'm going to feel good, because last time you checked Instagram, you feel better. So before you start to feel bad, you just do the response. So you actually pull out your phone right away and do stuff. So before you feel bad, and your brain feels good automatically. Then you didn't have a craving, you didn't have a reward potentially, but it just feels automatically. So every time I feel the challenge, I just pull out Instagram, start to swipe. Or every time I feel like, that's example, I'm on the way to the meeting, even if I don't feel sleepy, I just grab a cup of coffee, because that's what I'm doing. It's become associated. Every time I'm walking towards the meeting, I'm getting to the coffee machine, regardless if I'm sleepy or not sleepy. Do I want coffee or not? That's the way I do it. It's associated. Let's apply it to AppSec. We have a queue, so dependency scanner posts an alert about vulnerable library version in the project repository. It's important to have these dashboards, right? A couple of people say this example. So you have a queue, you have this observation. Developer that likes to see everything green and clean, some people really like that. They feel uncomfortable because their team will see that the branch is broken. So they have a craving to do something about it. They have a response, they update the vulnerable dependency, and they fix the problem. And the problem disappears, and you feel good about it again. Next time, so if this happens many times, next time you see a dashboard with a bad vulnerability in it, in a third-party component, without you feeling a crave or uncomfortable, you just, oh, I see that, I'm going to fix it. You just want to do it right away. So how we would create a habit? So that I just show you these 4 steps, but now you actually can have proper structure, and I will give you more details how to achieve it. Let's say you want to create a habit. You need to do something about those 4 steps. You need to make it very obvious, whatever activity you're implementing. You need to ask yourself, how can I make it obvious? You need to make it attractive. How do you make developers crave to fix it? You actually need to explicitly think about it. Not just writing policy, you need to think about it. You need to make them respond on this craving. How I make it easy to to act for them, and how I will make it satisfying, that immediately as they do something what I want, they feel like rewarded and dopamine. You need to think about it with your teammates with whom you are designing an AppSec program activity. But if they have a bad habit, maybe they're all the time integrating let's say branch with vulnerabilities to the development domain. Maybe you want to break a bad habit. This time you need to make it invisible. Like if you have a bad habit of eating chocolate in the morning, don't buy it so you don't have it at home, so it's invisible. You don't see it in the kitchen, you don't eat it. You need to break the craving, so you need to make it unattractive. Like for example, you ask your friend, every time I eat chocolate, like pinch me if you see that. Yeah, then you feel bad about it. You need to make it very difficult. I do not have it at home at all. And you make it very unsatisfying. So even if you do it, right away you need to feel something bad about it. You can apply it also to AppSec, of course. Huh? So how we would implement an activity. Let's say you do assessment with SAMM or DSOMM. You set the targets, which is very important. And Sanit pointed out that it's important to have a target and measure percentage to success. And you have a roadmap, so you know exactly what activities you want to do. Next step, what I do is, for each activity that I want to implement, immediate next one, I write list of good habits, bad habits, or neutral habits. Like what are we doing good, what are we doing bad, and what things we do, but they don't contribute at all to that activity, but they're still there. I will use it for something else. For example, for SCA, I want to introduce SCA program. I have a good habit that I want to create. We want to proactively fix third-party dependencies with known critical vulnerabilities as soon as they are added to the project. We want to fix as soon as we notice them. We want to create a good habit. Then we have a bad habit that we want to eliminate. Sometimes we merge code into their branch without resolving third-party vulnerabilities. That's a bad habit. I want to get rid of this. I want to create this one. I want to get rid of this one. And I have a neutral one. Every time we have a change, we have a nightly build. We have a rebuild. I will be using habit stacking to attach a bit one to another, so I have more to make it more visible, which I'll show here. So I just made a list of habits. Now, for each habit that you want to create in previous ones, I want to build this one. For this habit, this page is about that particular habit. I'm writing a table. How can I make it obvious? And I will write down on my notebook saying that every time a build is triggered, I will stack it because this build is triggered is known habit, neutral one. I will scan dependencies and I'll send a warning email to developer. That's the way I'm going to make it obvious. How I make it attractive? I will drop by to a developer and I'll say, well, you are the best person that knows this product, and I'm really curious about your opinion. Probably you're the only one who can fix it. And he will feel very proud, and he will also feel challenged. And he will try to assess if that vulnerability actually makes sense in the context of his project, to assess true risk. Then I will think, how can I make it easy for them to act? Because I'm motivated now, so I have to have documentation in accessible location that has step-by-step instructions how to use dependency track or how to use the third-party, how to investigate the issue in third-party component, how to mark it as false positive, how to change the score based on your local assessment. So that needs to be very easy. And I will also have contact details, whom to ask the question, how to ask the questions. I will make sure that it's very easy. Once I'm motivated, it should be very easy to achieve, to do it. And how to make satisfying. I will publicly call the name of the person. Next time we have a status meeting, say, yeah, you know, we had this problem and John fixed it. He's great. Or we as a team, we had a great progress. Since a while, we don't have any build failing because of third-party component issues. Right? So you make it satisfying. So they immediately feel like reward and dopamine about it when they don't expect. And if I want to break a bad habit, so previous one was to build a bad habit, because if that previous loop continues at some point in the previous one, I will not have to thank them every time. And I will not need to drop by to their table to motivate them, because next time they see a problem, they will just do it, they will act automatically. Okay? So after 5, 6 iterations of like being on top of this activity, that's what I'm doing in the beginning when I implement activity. I'm really on top of it. I make sure they feel bad if they don't do it, they feel good if they do it, and then I can like move on, and it will be rolling by itself. So to break a bad habit, like we are merging code with vulnerabilities to master branch or dev branch. I want to break it. Make it invisible. Just a like stupid example, but remove git merge command documentation from our cheat sheet. Of course, I mean, it will not work, but you get the idea. So it's even not obvious that it's possible. Make it invisible. So that habit cannot happen. Make it unattractive. To make it unattractive, mention that, hey, in this tribe, in our team, we do it this way. We never leave vulnerabilities in the code. So the person like feels this peer pressure that is unattractive to do it bad. But of course, you need to be creative. You need to think how you can make it unattractive. Make it difficult to do this bad thing. Maybe you will fail the build. So it will be almost impossible to integrate. Maybe you will put a local scanner in their development environment, so it already breaks locally before they even submit. So you need to find a way how to make it difficult to do bad things. And make it unsatisfying. Even if they manage to do it, you need to publicly shame them or do something that they immediately feel bad about it, or send emails saying, hey, you did a bad job. Look, you integrated and it broke. Show it like, on the dashboard. Now it's red. We as a team like did bad job. Next time do better. You need to have a good balance based on your culture, based on your environment, but make them a bit feel bad right away. So this one is a bit more long-term motivation. That they just understand it's not should not be done. This is immediate gratification or immediate like punishment right away. The last one. Now, if I'm implementing activity, what I'm doing, I have a visible plan. The white papers, policies, documentation, announcements. I would say we are doing third-party component security program. Here's how we're going to do it. What is this? Here's who is going to do it. Here's when we're going to do it. This is how. And this is the controls. So to catch if we didn't do it right, all the warnings. So this stuff you already do, and you publish it in your wikis, portals, like explaining every activity you're doing, guidelines. You can share that. And then I will also have an evil plan next to it, which I don't share, but I need that to make it work. I need it, and I would, if I'm doing it with someone, we would sit together and think, so how can we pressure people, how we can motivate people, how we can reward them, just to like use this behavior science, this psychology to automate it. Because I don't want to babysit developers or teams to like make sure it works. I want them to feel motivated and want it to do themselves. That's whole focus here. And when it works, then I can travel to Barcelona for some user day, enjoy your time with you. This is our photo from earlier this year in Barcelona, we organized. Then I can be there. Because whatever I do, I want to make sure that when I'm not there, life continues and things are working. So that was my presentation today. I would leave it on this. And yeah, I'm curious what you think about it.